new advisory from the National Hurricane Center. It still is Tropical Storm Isaac, but the big news in the advisory, the National Hurricane Center now forecasting a Category 2 hurricane at landfall in southeastern Louisiana or the Mississippi coast, potentially even Alabama, but focusing on the Louisiana and Mississippi area, now forecasting a Category 2. Here are the numbers from the advisory: 4 o'clock Central, 5 o'clock Eastern Time advisory, 70 mile an hour. Peak winds in the tropical storm, obviously very close to hurricane strength. We knew it was going to be a close call, but the pressure is low. The pressure is lower than what you would normally have for a Category 1 hurricane, but because this is a very big storms generally need lower pressure to achieve the higher wind speed, so still carrying this as a tropical storm. Moving to the northwest in the direction, obviously, of the southeast Louisiana coast, possibly a little tiny bit of deviation, and it's Mississippi for the center, but in any case, it's a large, sprawling area of fairly strong winds that's going to affect this entire coastal section here. Now, here is the brand new forecast cone. So here's the thinking, that by the overnight hours, so early AM in this language here, means in the overnight hours, forecasting a hurricane, a Category 1 hurricane, and then by tomorrow evening, a 90 mile an hour hurricane plus or minus. So a strong Category 1 hurricane just offshore. By that time, we would have hurricane conditions beginning to spread over the coast. So the thinking is that in the early morning hours, with the storm in this area here, the weather will have deteriorated on the coast, that everybody should be in place. Then by tomorrow evening, hurricane conditions spreading over the coast in this area here somewhere involving Louisiana, Mississippi, and possibly over to Alabama. And then in the early morning hours and overnight, 100 mile an hour hurricane plus or minus. Again, when they forecast Category 2, you really ought to be ready for at least a strong Category 2. This is a low-end Category 2. Be ready for a stronger storm just in case. They're in the vicinity of southeastern Louisiana or Mississippi. That's the thinking at this time. And then slowly weakening. They have an 85 mile an hour hurricane, still a Category 1 hurricane tomorrow evening. So look at that from that's Wednesday. From tomorrow evening, overnight, into the afternoon hours on Wednesday, and then slowly fading out into a tropical storm by Thursday. This is a long duration event, and then moving on up into the Midwest, and we'll watch for flooding there along the Mississippi Valley. All right, we can see on the radar this sender out in here. I'm going to bring in Dr. Greg Postel. We're going to look at this here in just 1 second. From the Tampa radar, going up to the Tallahassee radar, just a little too far away, but we can make out the turning in there. Now, let's go in just to show you where this rain is advancing, heading west. So this is what's going to spread on across the coast with some gusty winds embedded in that. And here, Greg, on the satellite, we can see a band kind of trying to develop in here. And then, of course, we have this strong band that's been affecting Florida out there. So what kind of readings are we getting with that band?
Well, earlier, the aircraft reconnaissance a couple hours ago was flying around the storm and found the strongest flight level winds were actually about 50 miles south of the center. But there still are some fairly significant winds, that's right, but there are still some fairly strong winds aloft, about 5,000 feet off the ground, up in this region, very close to where those showers and thunderstorms are that are not far off the coast. There are 40 to 50 mile an hour winds aloft. Those will likely be brought down to the surface once this band moves on shore, and that will lead to some tropical storm force wind gusts, we think, once that happens. And we've already seen some wind reports in the vicinity of gusts at mid 20 miles per hour. Those will go up a lot higher once that band comes in. Look, even out of these buoys, this is a sustained wind of 31 miles an hour out of the east. That's about 50 miles offshore. So we will see the winds increase fairly rapidly, I think, as these bands move on shore.
And that's why the advice is that we have everybody finish their completions today, and then tomorrow plan to stay where they are, because the winds will just increase as the storm gets closer and closer. Obviously, the area of concern in that hurricane warning zone from Louisiana over to the Florida Panhandle. All right, back to you, Nick.
All right, thanks so much, guys. Yeah, a lot of folks need to prepare for